Hello, you've caught me rewatching the PlayStation E3 2017 showcase for the 9th time, and it's my favourite bit, the Days Gone gameplay demo. Deacon is riding his bike, he's not looking where he's going. Oh, that has got to hurt.
It's got to more than hurt, if I'm honest. At that speed, it's got to take his head off, says me, professor of what happens when you ride a motorbike into a rope at 70 miles per hour.
Alright, so I'm no expert, but surely he is not getting up and punching a man after that.
But what's the one thing I'm forgetting? Deacon is a video game protagonist, a special breed of character with diamond-reinforced bones and skin made of Kevlar. They can run faster, shoot more accurately, and, crucially, absorb more ballistic damage than a herd of stampeding buffalo.
Not all video game protagonists.
Here are 7 times you'd totally have died if you weren't an Invincible video game protagonist.
Just to confuse things, in our first entry, you actually do die, but such is the badass protagonistness of Mass Effect 2's Commander Shepard, they just get rebuilt and get on with it. Memory, weapon skills, handsomeness, all very much intact. But let's take a closer look at what Shepard actually survives here. 1, the destruction of his or her ship, the Normandy. It literally gets blown to bits. 2, the escape of all the oxygen in his or her spacesuit. There it goes, sucked out into the vacuum of space. And there's Shepard, suffocating and definitely dying. And 3, the intense heat of planetary re-entry. Shepard's body hurtles through the atmosphere and, well, I'm no expert on this either, but luckily, Professor Brian Cox is.
When a space shuttle enters the atmosphere of Earth, what it's doing is rapidly transitioning between the vacuum of space and the rich layer of gas surrounding our planet. This causes intense friction, which in turn causes intense heat. Temperatures can reach up to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit or 1,649 degrees Celsius. Now, I only know of 2 things which can withstand such a cosmic bombardment. Number 1 is the exterior of a space shuttle that's designed specifically by NASA, and number 2 is the skin of video game protagonists.
Because if Shepard is going to be rebuilt, there has to be something to rebuild, doesn't there? So Shepard's corpse still has to withstand that intense heat. And it does, because video game protagonist. Next up, Naked Snake, Big Boss, Jack, John Doe, whatever you want to call him, from Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. Now, we all know he's the greatest soldier ever, and that throughout the course of the game you'll eat crocodiles and snakes and pull bullets out your ribcage with a knife and re-break and heal a broken arm, all while infiltrating a Soviet rainforest and saving the world. But there's a specific sequence about 2/3 of the way through the game where even the most rabid Snake fans have to admit he's pushing his luck. You get caught by Volgin while in disguise as Raiden after he investigates, downstairs. And Volgin then takes you into a room and punches you in the face so hard and for so long that any normal person's head would be a crumpled mess by the end of it.
You'd be dead. Plain and simple. I mean, Snake takes one hell of a beating.
And it just goes on and on and on. But obviously there's one thing Volgin didn't take into account. He's punching the face of a protagonist. A face that's been carefully designed and constructed to always look the same no matter what happens to it. Volgin's fists are like buses driving into 7 feet of concrete. You might scar the surface, but you're not going to do any permanent damage.
In fact, I bet Volgin's knuckles hurt more than Snake's cheeks after that.
Then, in true protagonist fashion, Snake patches himself up, jumps 100 feet into a river, fights a ghost, and then uses Volgin as a makeshift lightning rod, which does kill him, as Volgin is an antagonist.
Except it doesn't actually kill him, because in Metal Gear Solid 5... Actually, let's just move on.
Nathan Drake is up next, Mr. Adamantium Fingertips himself, who, throughout the Uncharted series, has escaped death both frequently and implausibly. Being shot at by a helicopter in a building that's falling down, he is fine. Falling out the back of an aeroplane and landing in the sweltering desert, that's his favourite thing actually. But there was that time in Uncharted 2 where Drake was so certainly going to die, I'm pretty sure the Grim Reaper would have had his shoes and coat on and everything.
So you're doing the train bit, which means you've already skipped over minigun-wielding brutes and leapt on to the high-speed locomotive.
You've leapt between carriages, punched massive men in the head, and then bang! Drake is shot in the stomach by smarmy British backstabber Harry Flynn. That's right, the actual bullet goes into Drake's torso and blood comes out and it looks bad. Now, in this kind of situation, I'd say your chances of survival are pretty slim unless you get to a hospital. There's probably internal bleeding. The bullet may have damaged crucial organs. But instead of getting medical attention, Drake gets this.
He's probably fine.
Oh look, he is fine. Turns out a good mauling in a train does wonders for bullet wounds. Then all you need to drive home the recovery is a nice bracing climb up the side of the carriage as it dangles precipitously over yawning white oblivion. The power of the protagonist, ladies and gentlemen. For our fourth entry, we've taken a different approach. Nothing actually happens to your character at the beginning of Skyrim, but that's the point. Nothing happens. You're in a line of criminals about to be executed. You see the first guy's head roll. You're next up for the chop. And right on cue, saved by the story.
This happens all the time in games and movies. The bad guy has the good guy exactly where he wants him. He's about to land the finishing blow, and then, just before he does...
Dinner's ready! Sausage and mash with Spider-Man spaghetti!
Spider-Man spaghetti?
The Dragonborn, champion of Skyrim, is spared execution by none other than Alduin the World Eater, or Alduin the stupid idiot more like. If you just laid off the screaming and the fire for another 2 minutes, then you'd have won the game, mate. There would have been no one to kill you and then suck the soul off your bones like the chicken connoisseur eating wings. The dragon, it was dead. 2.4. That protagonist is banging though. Definitely a 4.5. Hello, entry number 5, William B.J. Blazkowicz of Wolfenstein fame. In the New Order, he regularly performs feats of physical prowess only a video game protagonist could, and stylishly blasts his way through hordes of Nazis to boot. But, and spoilers for Wolfenstein the New Order incoming, at the end, after he's fought off one of the most evil fictional Nazis since Raiders of the Lost Ark in Death's Head, this happens.
Yep, Death's Head has pulled the pin and BJ is right there.
Boom, that's a grenade. It's gone off maybe 1 foot or so from Blazkowicz's face. No one is surviving that, and just down the line from no one is BJ Blazkowicz, video game protagonist and all-round badass. But then as the game ends, we're left slightly unsure as to the fate of BJ. He's severely injured, sees all his mates have made it to safety, and then orders them to fire the nuclear cannon.
Maybe he did die after all, and I'm going to have to strike BJ Blazkowicz from this Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus has been announced. The return of BJ Blazkowicz. He's fine.
Penultimate entry now, and we've got super protagonist Lara Croft, a lady who's dodged death more often than you've dodged household chores, but we're going to focus on the opening 10 minutes of 2013 Tomb Raider for this entry, as the amount of times Lara takes on the chin what would almost certainly finish you or I is quite remarkable. Okay, here we go. Boom, knocked out of bed. To be fair, I reckon I'd survive that. Smash! Angry torrent of storm water whacks into Lara, sending her spiralling underwater for too long. There she is, grasping for air, and there she is, drowned. Not really, she's fine, she's up, she's running for the helpful man, and he's dropped her, unhelpful man, and she plummets, 50, 60 feet into the raging sea. I mean, A, the impact alone would do for most people, and B, it's the raging sea, with furious waves and deadly currents, and you totally drown in that. Not Lara though. So we've made it to the beach implausibly, and it looks like we might be okay. We've heaved up half the Pacific, and smack, that was right in the head. Are we dead now? No, we're not. We're being hoisted upside down inside an evil room with candles and spikes. How do we get down? Set ourselves on fire.
it's not done yet.
But look, well done, Fire. You freed Lara from her bonds and helpfully left her skin and clothes unscathed. Too bad, there's a big old spike down there and ow, right through the midriff. And it's rusty too, but whatever, we'll hammer square a few times and yank that bad boy right out in one go. Are there bits of it left inside? Who cares? We've got a collapsing cave to escape from. Not that way, not that way, that way, the down way. The bloody hell that's got to hurt way. Okay, nearly there. Jump, jump, impossible jump, kick a man, climb, 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 dodge, climb, 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 and we're good.
I got a paper cut the other day and it's still really hurting.
Final entry now, and quite how the protagonist survives this particular episode, I'll never know. We're talking Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. We're talking Raziel, Kain's deputy, who angers the titular vampire by being brazen enough to evolve wings before his master. And when I say angers, I mean to the point where he has Raziel thrown into the Lake of the Dead.
That's a big roiling pit of acid, basically.
Down goes Raziel, screaming, burning, his skin melting away, his face unrecognisable, his torso evaporated, his entire body a husk. And he lies there so long, his scarf sort of merges with his body. And, yeah, up you get then, mate. Time for some vengeance. And thus begins one of the coolest action-adventure games I ever played, penned by Amy Mrs. Uncharted Hennig, if you didn't already know, as you control a man who spent a near eternity in a lake of acid on his quest to kill the evil vampire who had him chucked in. That is some super protagonist power right there. So there you have it, 7 times you totally have died if you weren't an Invincible video game protagonist. Let us know in the comments if you can think of any other examples. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and join us again next week for another Friday feature. Thanks for watching.